All right. Hey, everyone. Come on in. Welcome to my live book release, book reading. Okay, let's just get started because this is a few minutes long, okay? All right. How to maintain your independence, living with mental illness, and a safe level of custody of your kids. Introduction. Firstly, I wanted this book to include the most unbelievable side story. It was going to include the most incredibly interesting love story, including fate, fantasy, romance, and adventure. However, unfortunately, I cannot and couldn't because it holds no credibility at this point. Why? Because I was off my meds. So this affords me the ability to insist upon you all who have been diagnosed with any mental illness, being treated and controlled pharmaceutically, to please take your meds. Allow me to introduce myself and the inspiration for the driving force behind this instruction manual. My name is Bree, and I'm whom I like to call a high vibrational schizophrenic. Okay, so to start, you are absolutely not out of the loop if you've never heard of the term high vibrational. It's a term I developed with my own research, basically establishing that there are different levels of behaviors exhibited when living with mental illness. The reason I have coined the term high vibrational is because I'm a higher level functioning behavioral health patient. I've come to this conclusion because I have been living with this condition for over 10 years, and despite my diagnosis not only being listed as a disability on job applications, yet to be approved to receive any SSD assistance for me or my kids. I have been applying and getting denied for over a decade. Therefore, I'm now dedicated and motivated to tell others how to avoid homelessness, incarceration, and losing parental rights and or survive in such extreme circumstances. Now it is my pleasure to reiterate Chapter 1, Take Your Meds. It is important to find a medication that works best for you. Learn about yourself and your body. Pay attention to how the medication you are taking for your condition affects your body. Ask yourself first, what are the side effects? Are you experiencing any of the majorly known side effects? Are the side effects severe, mild, and or tolerable? Are the symptoms treated unique to your condition? Are you noticing any control and improvement to your behavior during the treatment? After asking yourself these questions, be honest with your doctors, therapists, and treatment team staff. Also, look for any side effects specific to you, the individual. For example, me, myself, I thought I had found the right fit until I noticed that particular drug had my body producing unwarranted breast milk. Yes, all it took was a new prescription and it stopped. In addition, know your level of self-discipline. I know I hate taking anything on a daily basis, oral or otherwise, so do your research. There are injection alternatives that may work best for you. For me, I take advantage of the injection because a nurse administers and signs that I'm receiving my medication in a timely fashion. It not only demonstrates that I'm being responsible, which is especially important in establishing credibility and maintaining support your independence, but also provides a tangible paper trail that you are not off your meds. It really does cover you in trying times. No one will have nor should have the power to blame any circumstance on the fact that you are off your meds. We must prioritize being responsible to keep and maintain a safe level of custody of our kids. Let's move on to therapy. Therapy is for everyone. The therapist is a safe place. Try not to create a conflict of interest in your relationship with the therapist. Do keep them informed of things you want to remember to update your doctor. The therapist is a part of your treatment team, and treatment is supposed to be a well-oiled machine and the proper functioning of your medication intake. In my case, I tell my therapist circumstances and goals. I then tell them the methods to my madness. I then refer to asking my therapist if I'm living a lifestyle that causes them any concern. Okay, so let me explain the method behind that. As a schizophrenic, I have experience in hearing voices and hallucinating. However, with the help of my therapist, I have learned how to check if I'm hallucinating, because that means I'm having a psychotic episode if I am, which in turn signals to take my meds or change my meds. Hallucinations do not add up. The math don't be mathing. If it does not make sense, question it. And if it does not add up, remove yourself from the situation and or conversation. Rewind back to therapy. If the therapist assures me that I'm making sense and being rational, then I have mental security from a highly trained professional that I'm fine and living life with flow. Lastly but not least, develop a healthy habit. This will be a natural complement to the prescription meds. Your healthy habit should be something you enjoy doing, then you would not mind doing daily. It is something that is not toxic to your way of making a living, your health, illegal, or anything harmful to yourself or others. For example, my healthy habits include going swimming, gardening, writing, and being actively involved in church. Other examples are raising a pet, coaching, volunteering with the youth, elderly, and or other community social circles. Your healthy habit could be work or a hobby that is your work. Set daily and weekly goals and do not overexert yourself. Be aware of how much you can put on your own plate and avoid self-sabotage by overwhelming yourself. Any loved ones or any of your support system, all of these things work together to keep you well. They all play a role in you taking your meds. Starting there is your insurance policy for a bright future following any health condition, diagnosed, treated, mental, physical, or otherwise. The most important benefit of that to me is when in doubt, trouble, or psychosis episode is that nobody can blame the scenario on you being off your meds, which is always going to be the first go-to motive for any situation you may find yourself trying to explain. Chapter 2, Family and Support System. The key word to any healthy family is communication. I insist, communicate. Have discussions as much as possible. Also, sometimes your support system is not always family. You are richly loved if you have either one, and blessed and highly favored if you have both. It is common for family to neglect mentally ill relatives, and if that is your case, do not be discouraged, because this book aims to promote independence. However, prevention is the best medicine, and frequent healthy communication with your loved ones will greatly avoid neglect. Ask your family to participate in helping you stay stable. Most importantly, they have to stay alert to your daily behaviors. They must inform you of any inadequacies they observe you making. It's really just that simple. Aside from that, talk about your triggers with them. Educate them about your meds. Keep your emergency contacts up to date. Most importantly, not least, make and agree to any and all of your hospitalization plans and arrangements. To begin with, healthy communication avoids neglect because your loved ones need to know what is going on with you. What is bothering you, if anything? This keeps them aware of any drama or trouble you may end up in. For example, any workplace harassment. If you explain all scenarios, they may be able to provide good advice. They may even be able to relate and to support you if it leads to becoming unemployed. Think about it. If you abruptly become unemployed, why should anyone pick up the burden of your contribution to the household if you blindsided them about your concerns? We must eliminate opportunities for homelessness and not burn any supporting bridges. Most importantly, are you depressed? Are you irrational or belligerent? Are you aiming your emotions at the correct source? Healthy communication helps them to help you. This next important instruction take some time to recognize. Learn and teach your support system your triggers. Triggers are anything that provokes you and or toys with your emotions. Triggers can be people as well. Once you become in tune with what triggers you, stay far away from them. To maintain independence, we must demonstrate self-control, which cannot be obtained without self-discipline. We must be responsible enough to display appropriate emotional stability. This begins with learning, avoiding, and eliminating our own individual triggers. Now, after you selected and researched the best meds for you, instruct your family what you have learned and why they work best for you. Have a family meeting so you do not have to keep repeating yourself to every person in the house. Yes, even the kids should know about your health information. I'm a full custody parent, so in my case, I try to look at it as my kids had to take care of their parent at a younger age than others. That frame of thought motivates me to stay well so that we can live out traditional family roles. Be encouraged and know that at least one person will always be concerned if you're not well, even if your only companion is your pet. The next one is keeping your emergency contacts up to date. The best thing to do is to choose someone in your circle who works in the medical field to be your emergency contact. Keep them updated on your meds and your well-being. Get their permission as if you're listing them for a job reference. Keep the medical staff and all physicians updated on who your emergency contacts are. Finally, the communication section of this chapter. I have a hospitalization plan. Make arrangements for child and pet care, missed work, and a bit of house sitting. Later in the book, I will discuss making the hospital an enjoyable experience and getting released as quickly as possible. I digress. We want to avoid going to the hospital because there is no guarantee that you will get out. Ultimately, if you must go to the hospital, I strongly encourage you to have a plan. Moving forward, with all of that communication, eliminate toxic mindsets from within your immediate circle. Nobody in your circle should be bringing negative energy or thoughts. Everyone close to you should always remember that we are all human. We all encounter some sort of battle for health. We all battle something mentally and physically. We fight things off and heal accordingly. Anyone who makes you feel judged, inadequate, or expects you to be someone that you are not has to be shown boundaries and tough love from a distance. If you find yourself alone or feeling alone, have the utmost confidence, self-confidence. Show yourself self-love and immerse yourself in positive affirmations and pampering, whether alone or within your environmental circle. Choose the right support system for your needs. I find my church to be full of like-minded people. That's just me. However, there are many other options. Join a sports team or bowling league, do some sports fishing, train for marathons. That's just to name a few. Yes, even AA and different recovery social groups are all things that will help you find like-minded people. That is the trick and the goal to finding the correct and best support system for you. Chapter 3. Be responsible and cooperative. Parentheses, being Baker acted. Okay, so just my luck. The very first time I had an episode, I had to renew my driver's license. I passed everything with flying colors, or so I thought. I got to the very end, and the last question was, has there been any changes in your health that could affect your driving? Me being responsible and honest that I am, responded, I don't know. The manager came over, asked a few more questions, and to make a long story short, I lost my driver's license. That demonstrated my high vibration by being considerate of the fact that a car can accidentally be a deadly weapon. Always behave representing that you have no intentions of hurting yourself and others, and if you do, you need to be hospitalized for observation and stabilization. I think that I want to be a jerk and tell you about my struggles to survive without being able to drive. I had to catch the bus not only to work, but also to drop off and pick up my baby from daycare during the commute. I also had to walk me and my baby and my purchases to and from the market. I say that to say this. I was resilient, and you must be resilient about keeping your kids and your liberty. Yes, my hard efforts paid off. I had to take and passed the driver test 3 times, but I ended up getting my driver's license back. Remember, prevention is the best medicine. So do not let this happen to you. Now, the book lists some family and support system interviews from their experiences. I have an interview of my parent, my adult child, and my bestie. Also, an in-law / roommate. I'm not going to read those, but I encourage you to get the book and read the interviews and get an understanding for yourself. Moving along, in chapter 3, we have cooperation. Now that you have observed the input from my peers and support system about cooperating, if time does not permit you to catch up on your medication, please go to the hospital. If your support system calls for help, this is referred to as an involuntary Baker Act. Involuntary Baker Acts are the biggest red flag to authorities and health professionals. Also, it yields the biggest possibility of a long and hopefully not permanent hospital stay. On the other hand, there is a voluntary Baker Act. Voluntary Baker Acts are when you call to get help for yourself. Voluntary hospitalization demonstrates ultimate responsibility, and according to the individual facility, release procedures present greater chances of you being released quickly. In essence, if you are wondering, yes, a Baker Act is a hospitalization in a mental ward. Be aware of your local Baker Act laws because some places will not hospitalize you. These places can and may jail you. I beg you, please avoid any and all energies leading to incarceration. Chapter 4, hospitalization. Chapter 4A, making it enjoyable. Believe it or not, the hospital stay can be enjoyable. Surprisingly, you will encounter like-minded people. Not only that, but there are also group therapy and concentration activities. You can do team building games like IQ challenges, cultural bonding, and team discharge goals, which the clinical discharge is your ultimate goal. So let's start with group therapy. Per the instructions of the therapist, you will find like-minded patients by similar discussion and activity responses. Depending on the assignment, you may see others making quite common creations and or ideas. It is also entertaining to listen, debate, and participate in controversial discussions. Furthermore, it is a focusing factor to try to keep entertained to quickly pass time. You may recognize the saying, time flies when you're having fun, as being very applicable to the situation. Next, there's unlimited concentration activities. You will have lots of reading time. I like to set a daily reading goal of 1 chapter per day. Feel free to take my daily goal and adjust it to your liking. Many of the various facilities that I visited provide reading resources. If not, you should be able to request that your visitors bring you something that does not violate contraband rules. If that is not your speed, there's almost always opportunity for coloring. Make your own style of artistic genius. I suggest staying in the lines, but hey, if you're a surrealist, do you. Everyone there will certainly let you be great. You may even be able to request cardboard and puzzles. All these things will slow your thoughts down and block any negative ones. Finally, take advantage of outside time. Engage with your peers while getting some fresh air. Always remembering to behave focused on being discharged. Now, the most fun part for me are the IQ challenges. You will discover so many gifted friends. There are cultural exchanges like teaching each other food recipes and languages. So yes, it can be an opportunity to become multilingual. My favorite brain game is challenging each other's intuitive abilities. It's a lot of fun. And if you can participate and observe it frequently. Lastly, if you're an extrovert, lead a team discharge initiative. That is basically starting a goal for you and a group of your peers. a plan to collectively be released around the same time. It is a nice reminder that family does not have to be your only support system. I pray that all the info really influence positive, enjoyable, and hopefully temporary mental ward experience. 4B, getting released as quickly as possible. Looks like this last part is going to be short and sweet. Hopefully the length of your hospital stay will be the same. The staff and your facility neighbors or roommates will be observing you. You want to demonstrate a good example of these following things: good hygiene, representing your loved one's home's training, sociability, and patience, in that order. Let's start with your hygiene. This is your first priority. If you've ever been hospitalized, you may have encountered some very low vibrational behavioral health patients in this particular area. Believe me, if you don't beat them, you will certainly join them. Be that as it may, it will affect the length of your stay and your room and board. Not only that, if the staff will be recording how often you request hygiene products and your usage, that and what you are not requesting. So, show yourself the utmost self-love in this department. Next, your hygiene habits are a direct reflection of your loved one's home training. Other environmental behaviors you will be demonstrating are your manners and how you speak to and treat those around you. In essence, kill your hospital stay with kindness, so to speak. Yes, you are representative of your upbringing. Be sure to clean up behind yourself and be tidy. Use table manners and do away with anything gross. These things are vital and crucial to getting released as quickly as possible. Moving forward, be sociable. It's okay to be an introvert if that is your personality type. However, people around you observing you being antisocial will be heavily observing you for a suicide watch. Think about it. It's quite common for the mentally ill to commit suicide. So let us eliminate the thought or assumptions that your isolation is fueling any notion of you hurting yourself or others. Similar to incarceration, there are people in the hospital that will turn all sorts of things into contraband. You do not want to be the bad apple that spoils things for the masses. Okay, so now we have successfully reached release day. Do not get too excited. Wait to speak with the doctor. Do not be demanding about when you want the doctor to approve your discharge. Chances are you're not the only person being released, so be patient and wait your turn. You are still being watched until you walk out that exit door. Being fidgety and restless can compromise your approval for release, so relax and focus on the goal. That's all I have to say, folks. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts. Thanks for your time. Sincerely, Bree Foxy. I will, once again, I wrote this book in efforts to come up with a mental illness law. Basically, I want the law to show that you're taking your meds monthly. On a monthly basis, you have a nurse or somebody to sign off that you're taking your meds. So, if you're not taking your meds, the first thing they're going to take, if you have it, and they're going to take it without hesitation, is your gun. So I think this is big on gun control, and if you have a gun, that's the first thing you'll lose without hesitation. Other things are licenses, business licenses, driver's license, any kind of thing you have going for yourself. They're going to warn you that if you don't take your meds, you're going to lose it. Government benefits, even that. You want to maintain your housing, your EBT, or any government assistance that you're receiving. If you're not taking your meds, you can lose it. And finally, I wanted to be possible grounds for a divorce. because I feel that it's unfair to the in sickness and in health part of your vows if you're not taking your medicine. You're reneging on your vows in that case. So I feel that way about it being grounds for divorce. So now you have the instructions in the book, and followed by the mental illness bill or law that I would like to pass. There's your instructions, there's the law, and let's make it happen. Next, I will be coming back once a week doing a Q&A on every chapter. Chapter 1 Q&A, chapter 2 Q&A. I'm going to even do I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do a Q&A on the introduction and the way I really wanted the story to go. You can find out. You may find out if the right questions are asked. So yeah, every week I'm going to do a Q&A, chapter 1 Q&A, chapter 2 Q&A, chapter 3 Q&A, chapter 4 Q&A. And I would like everybody to come on and support and ask questions, and let's make this a hit together. All right, y'all all have a good night. It's getting late, and I'm gonna end my live. Bye bye.